my mom and my sister. I could tell stories about Aunt Wee. I know Aunt Wee's here. We've got so many great, I think all those people here actually. I think Cheryl, where's Cheryl? You here, Cheryl? I love you, Cheryl. My stepmom. We just got so many good people who've been so good to me. But even if you cast a wider net, you know, Ron Selby was my math teacher in high school. Ron's got to be around here somewhere. I know he is. Now, I will tell a story. Now, I don't know if this story is actually true or if it's just the legend of Ron Selby. But Ron, if it's not true, don't tell me, because I've gone 21 years believing it, and I don't want to be contradicted now. But you know, the story is that at some point, Ron, of course, was a tough teacher. He demanded a lot of his students, and I was a beneficiary of that. But the story goes that at one point, Ron Selby had a student who really didn't want to take one of those world-famous Ron Selby math final exams. And so somebody called in a bomb threat to Middletown, Ohio school. So everybody goes outside, of course. Everybody remembers, was a student at one point or another. You get a bomb threat, you got to go stand outside. The fire department comes. But Ron was really pissed off that somebody was messing with his schedule. So he walked to the kid's locker, got what was allegedly the bomb, threw it in a trash can, and said, I know this kid, he's not smart enough to make a bomb. Let's get back to school. That's the legend of Ron Selby. I could go through half an hour and longer just talking about so many of you who made me who I am, and I'm so grateful to you. And I said at the RNC convention, which was the craziest speech and the craziest environment I've ever given, it's like all of you times 100 people, right? They were just as excited as you guys are times about 100 people. You could barely hear yourself think, but I said, I will never forget where I came from. Ladies and gentlemen, I came from Middletown, Ohio. I am proud of it, and I will never forget where I came from. And in fact, I might make the Secret Service take me to Central Pastry afterwards to get some. I'm dead serious. They get nervous. They do not like unexpected. And I love Milton's too, of course. Both. I love both. But Milton's has expanded a little bit. I feel like you can get Milton's not just at the place that's there on what is that, Roosevelt? I feel like you can get Milton's anywhere now, or at least a lot of other places, so it's cast a wider net. Anyway, I'm going to talk about donuts all day. You can tell what I skipped lunch, so my mind's on donuts here. But I'll tell you another story. My Mamaw was just an incredible woman, and a lot of you knew her, and a lot of you knew her personally. And I talked at the RNC convention, and I'll repeat this story just because I think it illustrates how tough she was. That, Mamaw died in 2005, and I was a United States Marine at that point, and I was just about to leave for Iraq. And when Aunt Wee and the rest of us went through her things, they discovered 19 loaded handguns in Mamaw's. That is not a made-up, no, that's. That's right. That's right. Well, when she introduced herself, sir, she is an Appalachian American. And when she introduced herself to my uncle, my Aunt Wee's husband, for the first time, she said, I'm from Breathitt County, Kentucky, where a woman isn't fully dressed without her gun. So that was Mamaw's attitude. And she was tough. And she was disciplined, and she is the reason why I've had so many of the good opportunities that I've had in my life. But people don't realize she was an incredibly sweet and kind and caring person too. And I'll never forget, I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and she picked me up from school. And there was just this very, I'd never seen this person. She was probably 14 or 15, young girl who was sitting in the back of the car, and she was clearly a little freaked out. And I'm going to get emotional telling this story. And I don't think that I've ever told this story before, but, Mamaw said, I said, who is this person, who's in our car? And Mamaw said, don't worry about it, none of your business. And I said, okay, I'll shut up. And eventually we dropped her off, and then we went back home, and I asked Mamaw, well, who was that? And she said, well, that was a little girl, and I guess there was some pretty bad abuse in her house. And when that little girl ran away from home and tried to find a safe space, she asked, where could I go? And everybody said, you can go to Bonnie Vance's house. And that And that is the Mamaw, but that is the Middletown that I knew. You guys were always so good to me. I could talk about any number of public school teachers, from Ron Selby to a number of others. I could talk about...
And that's J.D. Vance, the vice president nominee, vice president candidate